Hello, it's Chris from Piggeek, and today we'll be reviewing Ghost Recon Future Soldier. It's been 5 years since the last real Ghost Recon title. 5 years! That was pre-Modern Warfare. And now it's back with Future Soldier, which unsurprisingly tries to reboot the series and appeal to a wider audience. Although in doing so, it might leave some older Ghost Recon fans dissatisfied with less tactical gameplay. Throughout the campaign, your squad will follow your lead undetected, and will make use of available cover if a firefight breaks out without your command. In fact, your control over the team is limited to picking targets and giving them the go-ahead to fire. This isn't necessarily a fault unless you're expecting a traditional Ghost Recon setup, and it does help to make you feel an equal member of the team rather than a babysitter. The squad AI acts intelligently, and it's very cool to see each member get into position around a group of targets as you mark them. However, by far the best way to play for each mission is to team up with 3 other friends, all with voice communication, call out targets, use different weapon setups, and function as a real squad. If you can find or convince 3 other people to get a copy of the game and play at the same time, then you'll have a much more engaging experience. Which is why I was so very disappointed to find out that Future Soldiers does not support local co-op for the campaign itself, or even a matchmaking system to find other players. For a game that benefits so greatly from co-op play, it doesn't do a lot to support it. I wanted to get that out of the way nice and early because although I enjoyed the campaign, I would have enjoyed it more if I could have played split screen with friends. Moving on, there is plenty to the Future Soldier campaign with around 11 hours of playtime and a good amount of variety in the mission structure. Aside from a single lone wolf mission, you'll be playing as part of a 4-man squad equipped with an array of plausible near-future gadgets. The most important of which being the active camouflage, which triggers whilst crouched, and your fancy heads-up display, which provides each member of the squad with shared information about the enemy's position, weaponry, and who's been marked as a target. You'll also steadily gain access to more equipment as you complete each mission, and so you'll be able to use sensor grenades to locate hidden enemies, thermal and magnetic vision, and the increasingly popular quadcopter drone that you can use to locate and mark targets, leading to certain parts of Future Soldier playing out like a basic strategy game, as you clear areas without having to fire a single shot yourself.
On your go. Open fire!
Throughout the majority of the game, your elite squad will completely outgear the enemy, who are usually carrying very basic weaponry, and so open combat becomes a matter of quality versus quantity. And, unlike your teammates, the enemy AI isn't great, and direct conflict comes down to staying out of sight and waiting for the opposition to very predictably pop their head out of cover as you pick them off. It's much more interesting instead to try and stay undetected whenever possible and clear each area without raising the alarm. This isn't particularly difficult if you're playing alone, as your squad mates will never accidentally reveal themselves or miss a shot, and so it comes down to your accuracy and deciding which enemies to take out first without being seen. This is arguably one of the few co-op games that becomes more difficult when playing with other players, as it potentially adds more ways in which your team can be spotted due to human error. The game isn't exactly easy, but picking and eliminating targets is more a case of trial and error than how good a shot the player is. As well as the wide variety of locations in which the missions take place, it has to be said that Ghost Recon Future Soldier does a good job of making each mission feel different. You'll be sneaking through a Zambian warlord's compound, providing sniper support for a protest in Moscow, or making use of a prototype artillery mech thing known as the Warhound to blast your way through an Arctic base. It's quite a long campaign, and so it certainly helps that there's a good amount of variation. However, the overarching story that's in place to explain why your team is travelling all over the world and performing such crazy tasks is pretty weak, and basically comes down to the Ghost team trying to stop an extreme Russian group by the name of Raven's Rock, who want to destroy the USA and destabilise the world, because hey, why not? Oh, and then there's the cutscenes between missions that try to make you care about the characters that make up the team. They are bad, and you will not care.
But don't let it get in your head. Those people were in trouble long before we got there.
Hey, there's a line here. Guess the army's not real big on manners, huh?
Maybe you want to teach me some, kid.
Whoa.
Finally, I did have to reload the game several times during my playthrough because either a computer-controlled squad mate would bug out and not be able to get in position to breach a room or activate the next part of a mission, or the game just black-screened when trying to load a checkpoint. Pretty aggravating. Other than that, Ghost Recon Future Soldier has a good campaign that really should be played cooperatively if possible. Moving on to Guerrilla Mode, which is the only aspect of the game that does support local co-op, as well as the option to invite people from your friends list, although once again there's no matchmaking. It's wave survival that comes down to holding a position against progressively stronger opponents. After each wave you'll receive support in the form of weapon and equipment drops, as well as consumable radar scans, airstrikes, that kind of thing. It's enjoyable enough, but Ghost Recon is much better when you're quietly infiltrating an enemy position, not hunkered down behind cover trying not to get surrounded. The competitive multiplayer, which of course requires an online pass, offers smaller 6v6 squad-based objective-focused games. The most popular game type, Conflict, cycles through different objectives as the game goes on, which award points to whichever team manages to complete them. You'll need to eliminate a VIP player on the opposing team whilst defending your own, hold positions for a set period of time, or alternatively assault a position and prevent your opponents from being rewarded. There are 3 other modes in the form of Siege, Decoy and Saboteur that are also objective based, but Conflict seem to have by far the biggest player base. Upon joining the game, you're placed into a 3-man squad and can choose to either spawn in a default location or next to one of your squad mates. Good communication is key here, and as you can be killed so very quickly, it encourages players to stick together and move as a team. If you do try to play Lone Wolf or come up against a team that plays particularly well together, you may well find yourself struggling to impact the game. As you continue to play online, you'll earn experience for whichever class you've selected, either the Rifleman, Engineer or Scout. Each of these classes can use different weapon types and also has a particular advantage. Once you gain enough experience to level up, you'll be able to purchase attachments and modify your selected weapon using the Gunsmith, which you've probably seen Ubisoft show off before, although hopefully not during that awful Coco trailer. The Gunsmith is also used in the campaign, but you'll usually stick with the recommended weapon setups. In the multiplayer, however, you'll need to create a loadout that suits how you play individually. Being able to examine and adjust each part of your weapon to your liking is great, and the Gunsmith is certainly impressive to look at. You can use Kinect to control this feature, although other than for sheer novelty, I don't know why you'd choose to. It's much easier to use a controller. The competitive multiplayer is a fine enough addition to the game, but as with Guerrilla Mode, it doesn't really feel like you're playing a member of the Ghost Squad. Obviously, you're very limited to how much gadgetry you can use, and, well, it just becomes an average cover-based shooter. If you're going to buy Ghost Recon Future Soldier, it should be for the campaign itself. And the campaign is good. It's a fun and fairly extensive experience, especially if you play cooperatively. It may not do anything particularly groundbreaking, and it plays very differently to some of the past Ghost Recon titles, but it's enjoyable nonetheless. I give Ghost Recon Future Soldier 3 out of 5 stars. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check out all the coverage and reaction we have to E3 2012 over at picky.com, and I will see you next time.